So with the news of Aaron Rodgers returning to the Green Bay Packers, a lot of people are really just talking about Green Bay when they bring up the NFC North, and rightfully so. This is not meant to be a Packers slander video, much to the dismay of Vikings, Bears, and Lions fans watching this video. Green Bay is a good team, but I feel like a lot of people are counting out some of the other NFC North teams, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Minnesota Vikings and why I feel like they can make it back to the postseason in 2021 and why we should not count them out, because I feel like when we talk about possible postseason teams in 2021 in the NFC, I feel like a lot of people are just counting out the Minnesota Vikings. So before this video does get started, I do want to say go ahead and check out my podcast if you guys haven't already. The link to it is in the description below, and if you guys want to get more sports content from me, go ahead and check it out. But without further ado, let's get this video started. So let's first go over the Minnesota's offense. And last year, it was awesome, and I expect it to be great again in 2021. Kirk Cousins, some people may tell you different, but he is really not that bad of a quarterback, alright? People got shot with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, he is a pretty good quarterback. Now, he does have his consistency issues, and he does have his pretty bad moments, and he's way more of a game manager type quarterback, and he's not exactly, elite, and he does have his limitations. But Kirk Cousins, he is one of the best versions of a game manager you can get, and as long as they have a run-first offense, I think Kirk Cousins is gonna have a good year, and as long as he doesn't forget, how to play football, I think he's gonna have a good year. Kirk Cousins, he's a pretty good player. And speaking of the run game is absolutely fantastic. They have Dalvin Cook, who is one of the best running backs in the NFL, and he is elite, to put it simply. And I really don't have to say much when I talk about Dalvin Cook. He is the best player on the Minnesota Vikings, and I think we all know his importance to that team. They also do have Alexander Mattison, who's a pretty good reserve, and when he needs to, just do his job well, he does his job well, and he's a pretty good reserve overall. And all I can say is that this ground game is awesome. And then there's the receiving core, and the receiving core is also really good. They have Justin Jefferson, who had probably the best rookie season for a wide receiver ever last year in 2020, and you can argue that he should have won Offensive Rookie of the Year last season, and I'm sure many Vikings fans watching this video probably feel like he should have won Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2020. Now, I'm not really going to debate that, but yeah, the point is, he was really good last season. With how good he was last season, it's also crazy to think that this man could possibly improve and up his production, because he was extremely good last year. So, that's just scary. A better version of Justin Jefferson, that's just that's a really good player. Next year, I think Justin Jefferson is going to have a pretty similar season compared to what he had last year. Probably even better season, than what he had last year, because, he is a rookie, and chances are he probably will improve. And the point is, Justin Jefferson is an absolutely awesome player. Minnesota also does have Adam Thielen, and he may be on the wrong side of 38, but Adam Thielen is one of the best slot receivers in the league and is an absolute touchdown machine. He should be a nice receiving option next to Justin Jefferson, and both of them, they form one of the best wide receiver tandems in the league. And Adam Thielen, man, he's a really good player. They also did pick up D.D. Westbrook in the offseason, and I absolutely love this move. D.D. Westbrook, he was pretty decent in Jacksonville, and he only played one game last year, and now he's going to be the wide receiver 3 on this team, and he should be a nice, the third receiving option on this team. He's going to get plenty of opportunities given the fact that he has two of the best wide receivers in the NFL next to him. And D.D. Westbrook, he's a pretty good player, and 2018 and 2019, he was pretty decent for Jacksonville, and if he can play like that, I think the Vikings will take that. And then there's Irv Smith Jr. I think Irv Smith Jr. is going to have a breakout season next year. He was pretty solid last year, and with him sliding into that starting tight end role, he probably is just going to have the best season of his career, and he's going to bolster this offense even more. Then there's the offensive line, and it wasn't exactly amazing last year, but it should improve in this upcoming 2021 NFL season. The tackle position, it's pretty good. Brian O'Neill, he is one of the better tackles in the NFL, and they also did draft Christian Darrisaw in the first round of this past year's NFL draft, and in my opinion, he was the third tackle in this past year's NFL draft, and if he has a good rookie year, that's going to go a long way in helping out this team. as for Cleveland, he was okay last season, and they also do have Dakota Dozier, who was horseshit in 2020 to put it simply, so hopefully he does improve. And to cap it all off in the interior, Garrett Bradbury, he's their center, and he's a serviceable option at center. And I do think the offensive line should be, alright next year, and I think it definitely should improve. I mean, the offensive line, it's not the worst in the world anymore. I mean, it's really not terrible. I mean, all I can really say is that the offensive line, it's fine, and hopefully it's decent in 2021. Now, let's talk about the defense. Last year, Minnesota's defense was awful, to put it simply. However, I do believe they're going to be much better on that side of the ball this upcoming season. As bad as they were, the Vikings did have some injuries on that side of the ball. Let's be fair to them. The injuries definitely affected them. For starters, they lost one of the best players on the team and one of their best players on defense in Danielle Hunter, and he was out for all of last season. And when he's healthy, this man is one of the best edge rushers in the NFL, in my opinion. I mean, I think you probably should think the same way. Even if you hate the Vikings, there is no denying Danielle Hunter is one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. And if he stays healthy all of next season, he alone should improve this defense by a lot. Along with that, Michael Pierce, he is going to be coming back after opting out last season due to the virus, and he's a pretty solid defensive tackle, and hopefully he has a pretty decent season. And in free agency, they did acquire Dalvin Tomlinson, and he's a pretty good run defender. Not the best pass rusher out there, but he is a really good run stopper, and they have one of the best linebacker rooms in the league, led by Eric Kendricks and Anthony Barr. Eric Kendricks is one of the best linebackers in the NFL, and he is great in coverage. He did miss some time last year, but if he stays healthy, again, he's going to help out that defense a lot. And Anthony Barr, he hardly played last season, but he is a pretty good player when he's on the field. And I mean, overall, Anthony Barr, he's a pretty good player. Then there is the secondary, which is really weird in my opinion. Let's first start out with the corner. Last season, the Vikings, they had a young group of cornerbacks and they struggled as a result of their youth, but a lot of them did improve as the season did go on. They bring in 2 veteran cornerbacks who I think are definitely going to help out the young guys and this team a lot. First off, they bring in Bashaud Breeland. Anyways, he's not elite, but Bashaud, he's a pretty good player, and he does bring good play on the field, like pretty decent play on the field, and he's also a really good veteran presence in the locker room, and he is gonna help out a lot of the young guys with his leadership, and he can definitely teach them, some things about the NFL. They also did bring back Mackenzie Alexander. He's not the worst in the world. He's actually spent a majority of his career with the Minnesota Vikings, so he should know their system well, and again, he can definitely provide pretty good veteran leadership. And the final vet I do want to talk about is Patrick Peterson, who I think is a weird player. Pat is past his prime, and he definitely has lost a step, and his last few years with Arizona were not that good. But maybe he does bounce back this year with the Vikes, and at the very least can be a good rotational guy who most importantly can be a good veteran leader. I think his veteran leadership at the very least will be pretty valuable on this team because he can help out the young guys, and they're going to probably improve as a result of it. And I also do think Cameron Dantzler can take a leap in his game since he was okay last year, and he's going to be a lot more experienced, and the vets are going to help take pressure off of him, and they will be good mentors. The safety position, it shouldn't be a massive concern. Now, they did lose Anthony Harris, but the safety position, it really should not be a massive concern, as I said before. They have one of the best safeties in the game in Harrison Smith, and Xavier Woods is not the worst player in the world and could definitely have a better season in 2021 compared to what he had in 2020. And along with that, Mike Zimmer, he is a defensive-minded guy, and he can elevate this unit alone with his coaching, especially when you consider that the talent on this unit is gonna be much better. But the big reason on why I feel like the Vikings could definitely make the playoffs next year is kind of simple. Now, obviously, last season, they won 7 games, and they were a solid team for the most part. Now, they did start out the year very bad, but they were in a pretty okay team overall. And remember, that team was pretty much being carried by their offense. Now just imagine that 2020 team with a very similar offense that probably upgrades due to the fact that, guys like Irv Smith Jr. improving, the addition of guys like D.D. Westbrook and, improvements to the offensive line. Imagine a better offense, which was already very good to begin with, and a much better defense. That is the key, a much better defense. Now, I don't think the Vikings defense will improve to the point where or they're like a top 5 defense, but I think they should be around league average at the very least and could definitely be a pretty good unit next year. But take a look at this team. It's pretty good. We saw how good they were last season with a really bad defense, as I said before. They were a near 500 team and were a playoff contender. Now, do I think they'll win the Super Bowl? Probably not. You never know what can happen, but I mean, they probably will not win the Super Bowl. But this team, they're going to be really good next year. I do think people should give them a lot more respect, and I think they are a serious playoff contender. This team, when I look at them, I think they're winning at least 7 or 8 games. You know, 7, 8 games, that's the worst case scenario, in my opinion. Now, it's not going to be easy given the fact that they have to compete with the Green Bay Packers and possibly the Chicago Bears for the NFC North title. And if they do strike out on the division, they'll have to compete with, you know, the NFC West teams plus more. But all I can say is that Minnesota is a serious playoff contender and we should treat them like one. But with that being said, that'll be the end of today's video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like button as it really helps out the channel. And also make sure to subscribe if you guys are new and enjoy this type of content so you don't miss out on any new videos like this. Plus, we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. And once we hit our goal, I'm finally going to do a face reveal. But yeah, without further ado, I'm out, you guys.